2015 F-150 5.0 liter. This one's here for check misfire. I'm doing a complete topology system scan on it. We're gonna just go directly to the PCM and see what we see here. Check engine light's not on. Let's see. Yeah, we got two. Misfire detected on cylinder number 2. First 1,000 RPMs. Interesting. So it might be a cold startup misfire. If I look at long-term fuel trim on bank 1 and bank 2, we can see they're about 100% the same, which is saying that overall average, it's adding 11.7% of fuel additional to the factory programming, which is out of specification. Honestly, anything over 10% would typically indicate there's a problem. The closer to 0, the better. Short term, as we can see, we are very, very similar. Our R2s are switching back and forth. It's currently taking out, anywhere from 0.7 to 1.5%. So it's indicating maybe just a hair a little rich, but it's actually not bad. So cylinder number 2 is right here. We are going to pull this coil out and we are going to pull the spark plug out. It's not a continuous misfire. It seems like it's only misfiring at cold startup, according to the freeze frame data that I had found. And it's not misfiring right now. It's not misfiring under load. Engine's warmed up. So anyways, I'm gonna pull the coil, pull the spark plug. I'm gonna put a borescope camera in there and we are gonna look at the valves. We're gonna do an articulating borescope so I can turn it up 180 degrees, look at the bottom of the cylinder head and check those valves and see what they look like. Spark plug out. Spark plug doesn't look bad. I replaced them about 4 or 5 months ago for the customer. They are Motorcraft plugs that I put in here, so everything looks good here. Don't see any cracking on the porcelain. Borescope camera out. I'm gonna go in here and take a look. Okay, so I got the piston down, rotated the motor over by hand. We're gonna see if I can get this down in there and look up at the valves. Okay. As we can see, it looks clean around that section. Looks like the intake valves, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't see a ton of carbon deposits. We're going to take some screenshots here. Rotate this back around. Take another. I only got one valve that looks like it's got some carbon on it, but we can't see the mating surface because they're closed. Take another picture. We are rotating the crank by hand, getting the cylinder on top dead center, compression stroke. Be very careful if you use a screwdriver or anything in the cylinder. I go very slowly and I make sure that there's no binding. Sometimes engine valve, intake or exhaust, can push against the object you're using to measure the distance. So I go quarter turns, and I always make sure that everything's nice and free and we're not hitting anything. So I have installed my leak down tester hose into cylinder number 2. We are going to connect it to my regulator here and gauge. I always start off with it pretty much on no air pressure all the way down. You need 70 psi or more shop air going into it. We'll see if the cylinder turns over or moves or not. Hopefully it'll stay steady and give us a good reading. I'm at about 45, 50, 60 psi. And if I get up to, let's say 90 psi shop air, we are very low on our leak down, which is a good sign. That means that we have look at that. I'm gonna see if I can zoom in on my camera here. Leak down test has passed for cylinder number 2. I've got around 90 psi shop air in, and we are very low on leak down. So that is great. I'm gonna do a cranking compression test and a running compression test in a second. Cranking compression test shows great result. As you can see, looks like about 175, 180, somewhere in that range. I've got all the ignition coils plugged back in. To do a running compression test, you have to remove the Schrader valve at the end of your compression tester. A lot of compression testers will have a valve in here, so it'll hold the PSI when you're doing a cranking compression test, so you can get out of the vehicle and look at the results. So I'm gonna take this Schrader valve out, put it back in. We're gonna start the truck up with it running, and I'm gonna watch and see what the gauge shows. As I said, we have to pull the Schrader valve out, which I have it removed from my compression tester hose. We're gonna put it in the cylinder, just finger tight. They have an O-ring on it, you don't want them too tight. Sometimes they'll spin on the hose and they're hard to remove, and then you've got another problem. I'm gonna start the truck. It's gonna misfire, but I'm gonna put the spark plug back in, put the coil back in, and we are going to do a vacuum test. Put a vacuum gauge on it and see if it's steady. See what kind of vacuum the engine's pulling. Based off of what I could find, we are great on our running compression and our cranking compression. Put all the locks back down on the ignition coils. It's all plugged in. Let's get a vacuum gauge. So I started checking my engine vacuum while running, and I noticed it was misfiring. I'm showing really good vacuum. In fact, it's higher than it should be. This gauge is showing about 24, 25. But it's misfiring right now, and if I move this wiring to the number 2 injector, the misfire changes. So I think, and it looks like someone's repaired the wires here before. Right there, right? Yep. So I'm gonna put an injector pigtail on it, and then we'll go from there. light going dead. We're gonna start it back up and try to duplicate our misfire. I think we got more than one. As soon as I pulled that foam out, it got smoother. As soon as I rotate this harness, it got smooth as glass. It got worse. I gotta take this wiring harness all open, check it out for the injectors. I went ahead and replaced the injector connector on cylinder 2 because that's what we were getting misfires for, and just moving the wiring harness around, I ended up getting a cylinder 6 misfire, and as you can see, it's dropping out right now. So I think we might have a wiring problem for cylinder 6 as well, because that wasn't there previously or stored. There it goes. It cleared up. It just cleared up. I think I found my problem. It's normal to see some fluctuation here, especially if it's just at an idle and you don't have it under a load. But as you saw before, 6 was dropping out. So I think I found my section of wire that's bad. So I'm gonna see if I can repair that and retest. I repaired a whole bunch of wiring, put a new injector connector for cylinder number 2. I cut out some burnt spots on the main harness for 6, 7, and 8. So anyways, got that all situated. It's running smooth. Power balance shows everything's good.